Harvest time at the Saat-Gut Plaußig farm in Saxony, Germany means the entire team is firing on all cylinders. We went to find out what a typical harvesting day on this diversified arable farm looks like, and what the challenges are in terms of coordinating the subsequent fieldwork too. At the end of July, the harvesting teams are running at full capacity at Saat-Gut Plaußig on the outskirts of Leipzig. Each of the farm's 16 employees is hard at work, whether on the field, in the office, in the workshop or in the stores. When harvesting wheat or canola, as you can see here, the farm's own 2 combines are backed up by a contractor's combine. Since agricultural land tenancies have dramatically disappeared in this region over the past 25 years as a result of commercial and infrastructure projects, the harvested area has gradually decreased. Overall, there are 2,100 hectares to be harvested here. Canola takes up a substantial proportion of the farm's crop rotation, at around 25%. The crop is observed very closely during vegetation and is subject to a restrictive fertilization strategy. The farm has fully embraced the creation of fertilization maps using sensor technology as part of their crop cultivation strategy. They will be used later to spread nutrients, site-specifically based on the needs of the crop. The aim is to harvest a minimum of 100 hectares per day. To ensure they make full use of the very few harvesting days they have, the team has optimized many of their processes, including fuel stocks, for example. The catering is brought out to the field and is often free of charge for the team. Although the cabs are high-tech and comfortable, you still can't beat a nice, quiet lunch break. As you can imagine, stubble cultivation is already well underway too. As part of the farm's statutory fertilizer requirement calculation, they are also spreading digestate from a biogas plant onto some of the fields. By law, they have 1 to 4 hours to incorporate the fertilizer. To spread the digestate and supply the appropriate machinery, the farm calls on Ganzen Müller agricultural contractors, who recently took over the premises, staff and fleet of Stott's agricultural contractors in Mecklenburg-Vorpommern. The Köckerling Allrounder Flatline certainly lives up to its name as a versatile tillage implement for Saat-Gut Plaußig. During the first pass over the wheat and barley stubble, it works at a depth of 6 to 8 centimeters. Compared to a compact disc harrow, the 6 beams fitted with cultivator tines are even better at incorporating the large amounts of straw from this year's harvest. Then, for the second pass of stubble cultivation, the team decides on the best method based on the soil moisture, regrowth and weather conditions. When conditions were dry last year, they mostly used the Vector stale seedbed cultivator from Köckerling for deep cultivation before sowing. With canola, on the other hand, they use the Allrounder Flatline at an ultra-shallow depth of just 2 to 3 centimeters. The knife roller is great for crushing the canola stubble. The shares then follow on behind to cut into the soil surface. Volunteer canola and even a few wheat seeds can still be encouraged to germinate years later, which can cause problems, primarily when cultivating the deeper soil layers. If the soil is cultivated at an ultra-shallow depth, however, the grains remain on the surface, which makes them more likely to germinate sooner. You can then effectively suppress the potential damage by carrying out a second pass. Team member Heiko has just celebrated his 40-year anniversary at the company. He started working at Saat-Gut Plaußig as an apprentice. He can cover 50 to 60 hectares a day with the Allrounder Flatline. To safeguard the quality of the wheat crop, it takes priority over the canola today. This field changeover is well rehearsed. The rapeseed knives are quickly removed from the headers, and Jonathan and the rest of the team are back in harvesting mode. In addition to wheat, barley and canola, they also combine peas, spelt, durum wheat, oats and usually a hybrid rye multiplication crop. The organically farmed crops amount to 100 hectares. This Claas Lexion 770 has 585 horsepower and a 13,500 litre grain tank. For next season, the two Lexions are due to be swapped for two new combines. It's not yet clear which brand will win the race. Team member Jan Berthold has worked for Saat-Gut Plaußig for 30 years, and as farm manager, he is responsible for things running smoothly. Smaller breakdowns like this damage to the knives and crop lifters, probably caused by a stone, have to be sorted out by the drivers themselves. For bigger incidents, they have their own capable and very well managed workshop to fall back on. The harvesting capacity of the farm's two Claas Lexion 770s is calculated at 850 hectares each. Detlef calls the shots in the workshop. After 35 years at the company, there's not much he hasn't seen. Repairs, maintenance and warranty matters are all dealt with here in the workshop. The patients are only referred to a specialist workshop in more disastrous cases. In our first two short films on Saat-Gut Plaußig, we reported on the many different biodiversity-related initiatives on the farm, including a diverse crop rotation scheme and intensive use of cover crops. All the products harvested on the farm are supplied to processors in the same region or surrounding area without going through an intermediary. This avoids long transport routes and simplifies marketing. Due to the farm's close proximity with the city, the warm, friendly relationship they have with the people of Leipzig is a long-standing tradition. Direct marketing plays a more prominent role in this relationship. The farm's own brand wheat and spelt flour has been on the shelves of food retailers in and around Leipzig for 4 years now. And starting with this year's harvest, they plan to work with a local baker to make locally sourced bread from Saat-Gut Plaußig's rye flour. The farm's brand and logos are also recognizable from the distinctive sunflower yellow custom paint finish on most of their machinery. The summer of 2021 primarily stood out for its heavy rainfall. It was both a blessing and a curse. After all, 175 millimeters fell in August, which was 10 times the amount of the previous year. For Benedikt Biermann, managing director of Saat-Gut Plaußig, the superior yields from this year's harvest provide the opportunity to balance out the financial hardships of the previous 3 years, which were tough due to the weather. Fabian is out with the 8RX and a grain cart. It's a unique combination that has already proven its worth during the 2021 season thanks to its track systems. Fabian's job is to keep the 3 combines running. The task is made easier by an app on his tablet. He can use it to see where each Claas Lexion is located and how full their grain tanks are. This means that on large fields he can work out which team member he needs to go to first and how. Harvest days are often long days. The harvesters are only shut down once the dew starts settling on the straw. We'll be visiting Saat-Gut Plaußig again in the autumn to make a 4th short film. Be sure to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss the next installment.